Okay, so again, on that orange sheet, there's conversion. So it kind of tells you 1 inch is equal to, 12 inches is equal to 1 foot, 5,260 feet is equal to 1 mile, all of those conversions. It also gives us the formula for area of a triangle, and it gives us the formula for volume of a prism. So if it comes IAR time and you've forgotten those, they are listed there because you still have to know how to use those formulas. Okay? So let's go to this first problem. And again, it's this one on IAR. Some of them say enter your answer in the box, where you just put 24. Some of them are multiple choice. Some of them are short response. Some of them tell you to explain, show all work and explain what you did and all of that. So for this one, it says, an advertising company is designing a new logo that consists of a shaded triangle inside of a parallelogram. So it's saying that picture is the logo of a company. What is the area in square units of a parallelogram, of parallelogram ABCD? Enter your answer in the box. What is confusing about that question? Harper? An E and an F. Okay, so on the parallelogram there is an E and an F in the picture, and it just says A, B, C, D. Now, here's something we haven't talked about, I don't think, in 5th grade or 6th grade. When you name shapes, okay, if they have letters at their vertexes, which is their points, you call them by that. So parallelogram A, B, C, D is just A, B, C, D. It's just, those are the 4 corners, the 4 points on the shape, so we name it by those 4 letters. If I was naming that triangle up there, I could name it triangle BEF. I could call it triangle FEB. I could call it EFB. Just the 3 points. Everybody see where I'm getting those? The 3 points of the triangle is how I would name the triangle. And you can do that with any shape. You just name it by its vertexes or its points. Okay? So what is this question asking me? Carter? Yeah, it's asking me for area of a parallelogram. What do I have to retrieve from that brain of mine to be able to find the area of a parallelogram, Haley? That's a rectangle. Chase? Nope, you don't have to. We have a formula for it. Don't worry, we're going to go back and do more geometries because you've forgotten. Nolan?
Base times height.
Base times height. So out to the side, let's go ahead and write. Hold on, I'm going to have to scroll down a little bit. I have to be able to see it all. A equals base times height. Just lost my pen. How do we find the base and the height? How do I find the base and the height of the parallelogram? So A equals base times height. How do we find it, Livy? Okay, can I count the dots? So the base would be right here. Can I just count the dots? What? So what is my base? Who can give me that? What is my base? 4. Because why is 5 a common wrong answer? Nolan, why is 5? Because they count the dots. But when you're counting, you don't count till you move. We're counting a distance. So we don't count distance until there's a motion. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So our base is 4. Where do we look to find our height? Reese? Yeah, so I'm going to go from point B up here, and I'm going to just draw in this distance. Remember, our base and our height always have to form a what?
A right angle.
A right angle. Bryce, what is the height of that parallelogram? 6. So 4 times 6 is 24. What is my label? What is my label, Reese? Units squared. Okay, now, if this was the actual test and it says enter your answer in the box, and I cropped that off of here, but there would be a box right here, and people always say, do I enter the label? And the answer is sometimes. You just have to pay attention. Okay, if the box looks like that, then probably it wants a label. Or if you go to type it in, if it doesn't want the label, there's no letters. Like all you can type in is numbers. Okay, sometimes if you can, it'll want you to type in 24. Let's say you can type in letters, but you can't type in exponents. How could you still type in 24 units squared without exponents, Dane?
24 units s cubed.
Okay, you could spell it out or write it out, or you could write square units. Okay, but sometimes the label is kind of back behind it. And I've noticed when I give you online stuff, I have a lot of people tell me like 24 square units is the answer. What do they do that is incorrect? Sadie? Yeah, they type in square units when it already says square units behind it. And those are the questions that I don't like, because on the IAR test, if Cooper types in 24 square units into the box and it says square units right there, it'll probably mark it wrong, even though Cooper knows how to find area of a parallelogram. That's why I don't always love that test, because goofy things like that could potentially get marked wrong just because it was typed in the wrong way. Does that make sense? So just always pay attention. And also, if you click in the box and it's only letting you enter numbers, even if there's nothing behind it, can you put a label? No. Okay? Now, part 2, I'm not going to scroll down so we can still see the picture. In the new logo, what fraction of the parallelogram is shaded? So we're focusing back on the parallelogram. Okay, there's the parallelogram. And we're focusing on what fraction of it is shaded. So I'm going to just darken in the outline of the shaded region. What can I do to figure this one out? Naomi, what do you think? There's different ways we could go.
Find the area of it.
Of the triangle? Okay, we can do that. How do we find the area of a triangle? Where could we look if we forgot how to find the area of a triangle?
Orange paper.
On your orange paper, because that will be with you when you take your IAR test. My wall will not be with you. We take it in the multi-purpose room. Bryce, what's the formula for area of a triangle?
A equals half times base and height.
Okay, so we could do 1/2 times base times height. What's the other one that we could also use?
Base times height.
Base times height divided by 2. It doesn't matter. On that triangle, what is the base? What is the base, Harper? Okay, yeah, so line FE, but how long is it? Sorry. 4. So I'm going to put 1/2 times 4 times the height of the triangle. And we can kind of see out here if I just kind of extend that out. Nate?
2.
So we're going from this point down to here. So 3. So we can just do some math. What's half of 4? 2 times 3 is 6. We still don't really have our answer. Now what do we have to think about? Livy?
The area of the whole rectangle.
Okay, how does the whole parallelogram compare to 6, the triangle? Harper? Or sorry, the triangle compared to the whole parallelogram.
1 is 6 over 24.
It's not 6 over 24. To get there, we would take 24 divided by 4 to get 6. So what fraction? Livy?
I was going to say you could just multiply 6 by 4.
That's the same thing, but our choices are 1/12, 1/6, 1/4, and something else. 1/3. Nolan?
It's 1/4.
It's 1/4. Why?
You're dividing by 1 or 4.
Yeah, because 24 divided by 4 is 6, and so 24 times 1/4 is 6. Okay? I wouldn't have done the math on this one. We can. I'm showing you that math still works, but then comprehending what that means you guys know the math, but then figuring out the answer, you could probably use process of elimination. Harper?
You could have made it into squares because the bottom triangle you just flip and go on top.
So if I would have just, we don't even have to do that. If I would have just drawn that extra line, how many triangles, equivalent triangles do you see, Sadie? 4. And how many of them are shaded in?
1.
So 1 out of 4 triangles are shaded in. What fraction represents 1 out of 4? 1/4. Okay? So now, circle 1/4. Now again, this one wasn't an extended response. We're going to pretend it is just to practice it. The back problem says, like, show your work and your enter your answer, your work, and your explanation in the box provided. So over in the bottom corner, kind of down here, I want you to write answer, work, and explain. We'll shorten that. Answer, the work, and the explanation. Anytime you're doing an extended response in math, always start with the most important part. What is the most important part of any math problem? The answer. Okay? Start with your answer in a complete sentence. So we'll kind of mix part A and B together in our explanation part. On the back one, it'll separate. And on your homework problem tonight, it separates. It gives you a box to write about part A. It gives you a box to write about part B. So what is our answer to part A in a complete sentence? Jude?
You would say like just the answer.
So the answer in a complete sentence.
The answer to part A is 24.
In a 6th grade complete sentence. Restate the question.
The area.
There we go.
to part A.
No. Don't be lazy. The area was good. You started off good.
Area of the parallelogram.
There we go. The area of the parallelogram is, and I'm going to write it out in words because a lot of times in your explanation you guys don't have the exponent key. Okay, the area of the parallelogram is, what do we get, 24? 24 square units. Period. That's answering the first question. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll explain what we did and why there. What did we do? What math? What is our work? Harper?
4 times 6.
More specific.
8 would be.
Really, in your work, if you have to type in your work, you're copying down everything you wrote down. Anytime there's a formula, include that. So, you would type in A equals base times height. I use a lot of enter, like I like it to look nice and neat, so I always hit enter and type under it because there's not a limited amount of space for most of them. But if you wanted to put like equals, what was it, 4 times 6 equals 24. So that's my work. Why did we do that? So I entered my answer, my work. Now I have to tell why I did that. Why did we do 4 times 6? Sadie? Yeah, so A equals base times height, which equals 4 times 6, which equals 24. And then we are going to say, I found the base was 4 and the height was 6. Period. Then let's use a big word, substituted them into the formula. Let's write proper formula, because does the formula matter? Yeah, the formula matters. So we gave the answer, we gave our work, we gave our y. What we did and y, the area of the parallelogram is 24 square units. A equals b times h, which is 4 times 6, which is 24. I found the base was 4 and the height was 6. Then I substituted them into the proper formula. Okay, we kind of said why we did that. We substituted in the base and the height. Part 2, what was our answer? Sadie? 1/4. How can we put that in a sentence?
The fraction of the parallelogram that was shaded was 1/4.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. So, or we could even almost start with 1/4 of the parallelogram is shaded. And let's explain what we did, because if we do the math, that's fine, but let's explain the other one. There's really no work to show. What did we do the visual way? Harper?
You split you notice that the top part would make a square, so you just split it in half on the bottom.
Okay, and it doesn't make a square, but I noticed that 4 of those triangles could create, or could make the, what's the whole shape? The parallelogram. So let's write that. I noticed that 4 of the triangles was equal to the parallelogram. And then, so how did we get the 1/4? Because that's where we get our 4. Jude?
One of them was shaded.
And only one of them was shaded. So I'm going to change that to a comma. And only one was shaded. Okay, and again, I try and prep you for this. I ask why a lot. When you say, we have to do this, I always say why. It's to get you ready for this. I just don't always make you write it down. I make you verbalize it. So this is kind of a step further, putting it into words on paper. Raise your hand if writing is one of your weaknesses. Okay, most people who really like math really dislike reading and writing, typically. Some people like it all, but usually if you really like math, you dislike the other side of that. So this is where I have to push you a little bit. Okay, but does that make sense? Okay, and that's considered like an extended response in math. It's not like a 5-paragraph essay like it is in ELA, but it's more than just giving an answer. Okay, so you do your answer, your work, and your explanation. Let's flip it to the back. This problem is ugly. And I usually work this one however the class tells me we need to work it. There's been very few times where I feel like the class has actually gotten it correct. Okay, I'm going to try and guide you in the right direction. I want you to take a second and read through it. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in this one. You reading, Dane? Why do we not like this? Chase? There's a lot of words in it, okay? There's a lot of words in it. So, try and go in order. If they give you bullet points, usually that's kind of guiding you in the right direction, okay? And for this one, as we do something, we're going to go ahead and write about it, okay? You could do that on your actual test. As you do something, you could go over to the answer box and write it, or you could do it all on paper and then copy it all, okay? That's up to you, but to save time today, we're going to kind of write about it as we solve it. So, A company makes yellow golf balls and white golf balls. The table shows the company's sales of yellow golf balls for the last 3 years. It gives me some numbers. I'm going to read through all of it. The company expects sales of yellow golf balls to continue to increase in year 4. What does that mean? It's going to continue going up, okay? The company also expects the ratio of golf ball sales of yellow to white to in year 4 to be about 1 to 5. So it's given us ratios. Do we know a lot about ratios? Harper?
So for every 1 yellow golf ball, they're selling 5 white balls.
Correct.
So then how's the yellow ball going to increase?
This is just giving us yellow. Our table is only yellow. We don't know anything about white except it's a 1 to 5 ratio. Okay? The next one says the average selling price of a box of yellow or white is $23.94. So if you go to Walmart and buy a box of these golf balls, it'll be about $24. Estimate. I'm going to underline that word. That makes our life a whole lot easier. And there's also a calculator on your desk because this one was in the calculator section. Estimate the company's total sales in dollars of golf balls in year 4. Show all your work. Explain how you determined your estimate. Enter your estimate, your work, and your explanation in the space provided. Now, I won't be able to scroll up and down, so I'm going to start my explanation up here in the top, and I'll probably take it all over the place. You guys work in more of an orderly fashion down at the bottom. Okay, that word right here makes my life easier. Estimate. Let's go back to the first bullet point. The company expects sales of yellow to continue to increase in year 4. What do we need to add to our table? Sadie? Year 4. Okay, so add a 4 there. How can I get an estimate for year 4? Dane?
Average how many golf balls they sell more each year.
Okay, like what do you,
So like subtract 237,000.
okay, so he's saying see how much it increases from like year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3. Do we have to use those numbers?
Yeah.
Or could I use some prettier numbers?
Prettier numbers.
Why can I use prettier numbers? Because it says estimate. So Cooper, what is a lot easier to work with than 204,132? That's still close. Make it a nice, pretty number. You're overthinking it. Livy. Too much, too hard. Make it easier. What? 200,000, okay? If you're selling 200,000 golf balls, those extra 4,000 don't really, I mean, we can give and take. So next to this, I want you to write 200,000. And again, that's just our estimate. 225. Jude? Why is that one kind of a weird one? To make it pretty.
You can either go up 5 or down 5.
You can go up 5 or down 5. Let's write them both because we're just trying to make this problem make sense. We could take that down to 220, down to 220,000, or we could easily take it up to 230,000, whichever one makes our life easier. What about 237? Stella, what could we round that one to make it prettier?
240.
240,000. Now, do we notice anything? We go from 200 to 220 or 230 and then up to 240. Reese, what do you notice?
It's like kind of going up by like 20.
Yeah, so if we ignore that 230, let's get rid of it now that we see it. If we look at it like that, 200, 240, what would be the next one? Or sorry, 200, 220, 240? 260. 260,000. Okay, that's an important piece of the problem. We just kind of figured out that first bullet point. So let's go down in the writing. Leave a little bit of space. Why are we going to leave a little bit of space before we... What other stuff? What's the most important piece? Our answer. Okay, so I'm going to leave a box up here in the corner to put our final answer. under that, I'm going to write, I estimated that, I'm just going to say they, I'm going to be lazy instead of writing the company, that they will sell 260,000, and again, you guys can do this at the bottom. I'm doing it anywhere I have room. I estimated that they will sell 260,000 yellow golf balls in year 4. How did we get that? Why? Why did we get that number?
Because we realized that it kept going up 20,000.
Yes, I saw it increased by about 20,000 each year. Period. Done with that bullet point. 3 more to go. Okay? So we've kind of taken care of that. Everything it gives you, it usually gives you for a reason. Next one, the company also expects the ratio of yellow to white in year 4 to be about 1 to 5. Livy, what can I do for this one?
Just multiply the number you just got by 5.
Okay, why?
Because the 1 is the yellow golf ball, and then the 5 is the white, and then that's only 1 time of that. What is the ratio?
Okay, let's go with ratio, because is ratio a 6th grade skill that you are expected to learn? Yes. What is our ratio? 1 to 5. Let's show some work. I'm going to have to delete my work. You guys can actually show your work up here where I am. So I'm going to write 1 to 5 is my ratio, and that is yellow to white, right? What is my yellow number for year 4? Bryce? 260,000. How can I figure out that number? And Livy said it, but I'm showing it. Nate?
Did you multiply the 5?
What are we actually multiplying by? 260,000 on top and bottom. So essentially the math we're doing in the calculator is 5 times 260,000. What's the easiest way to type that into a calculator? 26 times 5 and add how many zeros? 4. So 26 times 5 is 130. Then I add my 4 zeros. Then I figure out where my commas go. What does that number tell me? You probably typed it in incorrectly. So do 26 times 5. And then add 4 zeros. Chase, what does that number tell me? In year 4. So I'm going to go ahead and write this right here so I know that this is my white in year 4 is 1,300,000. So there's our work. Now we have to show our work, tell what we or why we did that. So I found that about 1,300,000 golf balls, or white, I should say white, golf balls. I'm going to go up here. Like I said, I'm going to have to write all over the place, so I don't have to keep erasing. I found that about 1,300,000 white golf balls were sold in year 4. Okay, then I just have to show my work. Okay, I have to show my work. how could I type in that with a regular keyboard? Dane?
260,000 slash 1,300,000.
But that's not all of my work. That's just part of it.
1/5 times.
Yeah, so I set up the ratio. One slash 5, because again, we're going to have to type it into a regular old computer, equals 260,000 slash, what could I put to show, like, I don't know what this is. This is what I found.
A box. Question mark.
We don't have boxes. So you could put a question mark. What else could we use?
About.
Nope, not about. It's just showing what can we replace something we don't know with in a math problem. A letter. You could put X, you could put a question mark, you could put whatever you want. So I'm just going to put question mark. I set up the ratio 1/5 equals 260,000 over question mark. Okay, we showed what we did. We gave them our answer. Next, check. Now, I'm going to read through the rest of it because this one's not as straightforward. The average selling price of a box of yellow or white golf balls is $23.94. So it gives me money information, price information. It wants me to estimate the company's total sales in dollars of golf balls in year 4. Show all your work, explain how you determined your estimate. So we are just focused on total sales from year 4. What do we have to do before I can find total sales? Harper?
You have to add those two together.
What will that tell me?
The total golf balls.
Yes. So next, let's add those. You can add them in your calculator. How many golf balls total? Dane?
1,560,000.
1,560,000. Okay, in parentheses, I'm going to show where we got that number because it says show all work. Okay, so in parentheses, I'm just going to show that we took 260,000 plus 1.3 million, 1,300,000. Okay? Is that my money? Did they make that much money? No, that is telling me what?
How many golf balls?
So I'm going to add golf balls to this. So they sold a total of 1,560,000. I'm missing a 0. Golf balls. Now what? Livy?
Divided by 12.
Why are we dividing that by 12?
Because a box then costs $23.94.
Okay, so I'm going to come up here because I'm running out of space. Okay, this is, let's figure out boxes. Take that number divided by 12. Give me an answer. 130,000. Okay, this is 130,000 boxes. And again, we got to show our math, so I'm going to write that we took 1,560,000 divided by 12. So I know they sold that many golf balls, which is the same as 130,000 boxes. Now what? Jude?
You do 130,000 times 23.94.
Make it prettier.
24.
So then I took 130,000 times 24 to find what? How much money they'd make. To find how much money they'd make. And again, guys, I picked the hardest one I could find for us to do together. So, what's the hardest part of this problem? Figuring out what needs done. Is really any of the math super challenging? No, it's figuring out what needs done and in what order it needs completed in. And it just takes practice. Okay? I'm going to leave that up, and I know that black thing popped up from the bottom, and I can move some of this out of the way. Once you get it copied down, the homework is right here. Okay, I'll let you grab it in just a second. Read carefully. Okay, that's a struggle for a lot of us. Do you agree with that? Some of these just ask for an answer. I think part C just asks for an answer. Part A and B, I give you a spot to show your work. That would be like your scratch work that would not be turned in on IAR. And over here where it says enter your answer and explanation in the box provided, that's if you want it graded, it needs to be in that box. Okay, so this over here where it says workspace, that would be like your scratch paper that is not turned in to be graded. Does that make sense? Okay, so when you're ready for this, just come grab it off the table. And that's what your homework is tonight, that one problem, but it is a three-parter.